And let's meet the teams. This first pair teaming up this year. And ladies and gentlemen, they are a fiery team to watch. First up, the blocker. He is originally out of Ridgefield, Connecticut. And when he is feeling it, ladies and gentlemen, oh man, I've seen him block 10, 11 balls against the best players in the world in one match. If he's on, his team is looking good. Give it up for Theo Brunner. And his partner out of Van Nuys, California. Been one of our favorites on the AVP tour for a number of years. One of the favorites around the world on the F5EB World Tour. And ladies and gentlemen, he is ready to put on a show for you. Give it up for Casey Patterson. And their opponents, they have looked so good. They are 4-0. Here to Sunday morning of the Manhattan Beach Open. Only one time has a team scored more than 15 points. One time, more than 15 points in a set. They are looking like the best team in the world this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. This first guy out of Davie, Florida, the Seminole out of Florida State University, he is the quick one. He is Nick Lucena. And his partner, originally out of Baden, Switzerland, and now out of right here in Manhattan Beach, California. He is the beast. He is a three-time Olympian, an Olympic gold medalist, and he is deadly from any part of the volleyball court. Let me hear it for Philip Dalhausser. Phil and Nick, Theo and Casey for a spot in the finals. We've got our other men's semi out on outer court number 1 right now. I'm going to keep you updated with that one as well. But we are ready to go inside stadium court. Casey at the line. Let's do this.
Kevin Barnett alongside Tri Bourne. Welcome to Manhattan Beach. Semi-finals underway here, the men. Following a thrilling women's event, you're looking at Casey Patterson and
first
Theo
shot out of
Brunner
bounds.
taking on Phil and Nick. Phil Dalhausser and Nick Lucena, who had a heck of a match against these two Tri earlier in this tournament.
Yeah, exactly. They actually handled Bruner and Patterson pretty easily in their first matchup, but honestly, I've been seeing Theo Brunner playing some of the best ball I've ever seen him play. Absolutely dominated in their last match of the day yesterday, beating Jake Gibb, the three-time Olympian, and his young partner, Taylor Crabb, who are the reigning champs from Hermosa Beach just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, when you're talking about the Crabs, you have to remember which one are you talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And they're both T Crabs.
Nice high swing that time from Casey Patterson on the left-hand side. You'll know Casey by his haircut and his signature behavior with the crowd. But if there was a crowd on Tuesday in Huntington, he would interact with them.
Yes, absolutely. That guy has so much energy. Usually a fan favorite for sure, and Theo Brunner in the net, I guess, there.
Phil Dalhausser doing a nice job scooping that set out of the net. It will be point for Patterson, or pardon me, point for Dalhausser Lucena. Phil Dalhausser back to serve. People keep waiting for Phil Dalhausser to drop off, and it just is not happening. And to that point, a serve, wrist away.
No, it's really not. And I mean, all of these players from the U.S. in their late 30s, the average American on the World Tour is like 35 years old or older, and they just seem to keep getting better. And Phil's definitely one of them.
Thrilling match earlier. Wilkerson and Branna through in 3. Speaking of older players who are playing at a tremendously high level, Nicole Branna playing some special volleyball.
Yeah, it's really cool to see her kind of playing the best ball that she's played in the last few years. I know it's been hard for her to to come back and not play at the level she wants.
Casey Patterson delivers the ace going back the other way.
But Nicole Brannan's balling here, and she might just get her name on the pier later this afternoon.
Nicole Brunner has been through a number of partners this year. Started out with a Chinese partner, then of course the partnership with Carrie Walsh until the dislocated shoulder ending Walsh's season, and we'll see what her future looks like. But Nicole still wanting to play. Picked up Brandy Wilkerson from Canada. Normally plays with Heather Bansley on the FIVB tour. Another cut there. Lucena checks down and goes line easily. No one in sight. 4-4.
Great vision there by Nick. You can see him take a big look on his right before his double arm lift, and he's got the best vision definitely out of all 4 of these players out here. Casey Patterson, on the other hand, has some incredible vision as well, so you'll see that from both players here today.
Lucena with the overhand dig. Nobody up. Patterson in transition, little tight, cuts it cross body past Phil Dalhausser.
You know, those are the kind of swings that are scary to make against a guy like Phil Dalhausser. But what did you see earlier? You saw Casey go high off the hands of Phil. So now Phil's thinking, I'm going to go ahead and take that high one, not let him tool me, and Casey slides it underneath. Great start by Casey there.
Working on Phil here. Phil with a little check down, and he pulls it hard cross body for the point of their easy side out for Dalhausser and Lucena.
Slides it down the line. All these players kind of busting out all the shots early, and you kind of have to, especially with these 2 blockers at the net.
Steady start for both teams. Probably good for Patterson and Brunner coming off that 21-8 that we mentioned earlier. That was the second set when they met earlier in this tournament.
Oh, wow.
Look at Nick
what
Lucena.
A rally.
Patterson on 2, smart move.
There is some incredible volleyball being played right now. And first of all, how about the set from Theo Brunner to give Casey the opportunity to hit that ball? And then, of course, Nick with this save. And a good, quick on-2 play by Brunner and Patterson to put it away and not give the defense a chance to set up.
Working on Lucena this time, who checks down to the cut. Patterson with the right hand. Up again, little slide and the kill.
Unbelievable play by Casey Patterson to get that ball up off the sand, but Theo Brunner again with the set. That's something he's been known for, is not being the best setter in this tournament. Late yesterday, he just turned it on, and I mean, he wants to get his name on the pier because he's doing all the small things well.
There he is again, up on top of the net. Dalhausser trying to go over on 2, Brunner having none of it.
He is the man to watch right now. If he can continue to play at this high level, they just might be going to the finals here.
Well, a good start in this first set, 8-5, Brunner and Patterson. Preferring to work on Lucena early in this match. That one popped up, coming right off the Rockwell. And a snap down the middle. Boy, Patterson in transition. I always thought that was the scary thing. When Casey Patterson went to being a full-time defender years ago, would be Casey Patterson at 6'5" coming at you in transition.
Yeah, I think that's why he was so confident to make that switch to defense. He knows that he's one of the best side-out players out here. If he can just get that defense down, I mean, he also has a great touch. So really, he just has to get his feet to the ball and cover a lot of ground, and the rest will cover itself.
Another dig. Patterson in transition again, takes a look at Phil, tries to go off those hands.
Oh, wow.
Over on 2, indeed.
Well, that was ridiculous.
Patterson and Brunner playing out of their minds right now. And I got to give credit to the other team for making all these scrappy plays, but some of the best ball I've ever seen Brunner and Patterson play. I mean, I know this is an early new partnership this season, but they're definitely peaking right now at the right time.
Here's Lucena on the right, checks down, looks to the line, and once again, it's good. That one deep into the corner.
Kind of a reset play there. A lot of energy in the stadium right now. Casey Patterson and Theo bringing and embracing a lot of that energy, and Nick kind of just quiets everyone down with a nice, easy high line.
Casey and Theo, as you heard Tri mention, a newer partnership on tour. Dalhausser and Lucena back together just before the Olympic Games. What, about a year and a half out, as I recall, before 2016? And they did, in fact, there was some question as to whether they would be able to qualify given the number of points that they did not have as a partnership. They were able to qualify for the Olympic Games.
Yeah, they actually partnered up a little bit into Olympic qualifications, so.
I think it was it mid 14 that they got back together, and then they had all of 15, or the beginning, maybe it was mid 15, and they had the beginning of 16 in order to qualify and gain enough points. The FIVB starting their tour early in January, actually, that year, to allow several teams to try and score points before the June deadline. Right down the middle, Brunner. That one pushed to the net. Yeah, you don't want that against Phil Dalhausser. You talked about how difficult those swings are against the big man.
Yeah, I mean, he can take so much court, and when the set's coming from off the net already, a lot of your angles are taken away from you. And then a tight one with Phil Dalhausser up, he can practically take the entire court. You got to get creative on that play. Maybe play it off the block and play it back to yourself, or just keep it in play, but Phil came up with that last one.
Pretty high contact point there, even on that play. Look at Phil. Jump serve, and he's there for the over on 2 stuffage.
So impressive. I mean, the momentum is in the favor of Patterson and Brunner, and these two, Phil and Nick. Look at that replay, how high he gets.
How difficult is that move right there, where you're running towards the net and trying to put a block up?
It's one of the hardest things to do, not to touch the net, and he's going to have to do it again in case he goes high off the block. No, it's really difficult. What you have to do is get your feet there first. There's a huge tendency there to broad jump, but you have to get your feet all the way to the net to be fully sprinting and then jump straight up and not drift forward into the net. It takes a lot of discipline and practice.
12-9 side switch in Stadium Court here as we take a look out to the other men's semifinal happening outside. It's Trevor Crabb and Sean Rosenthal playing against Pretty and Santos. It's 9-5 for Crabb Rosenthal. Reed Pretty, of course, the 2008 gold medalist and longtime indoor player, as a few people have said this week, starting to figure it out as he plays with the immortal, it seems, Ricardo Santos. Scramble play here and out of bounds. Looks like it's going to be 9-5 now. Pretty and Santos with still a little bit of work to do, but I ran into Randy Stoklos on the way into the tournament this morning. He was talking about the cramping issues Santos was having yesterday.
Yeah. Honestly, I was surprised to see them win their last match yesterday because Ricardo was having some issues with cramping in the round before when they were sitting in 7th place. And but I mean, this is beach volleyball. There's a lot of cramping that goes on. Ricardo, if anyone in the world has seen it all, it's that man.
Pretty with the dig and transition there, and they're on a little bit of a roll back within 3. Now 2, make it 2 now.
I gotta say, it's definitely a surprise to see these guys in the semifinals. Reed Pretty came into beach volleyball very aggressively, talking a big game, and I mean, he's backing it up in a lot of ways, and it's still early on. He's getting better each and every match, so he's one of those guys that's really fun to watch.
Just debuted his video, the beach volleyball hack. He's come at it with a whole different idea. As Pretty tries to dig that one out of the sand and cannot. So point to Crabb and Rosenthal.
Yeah, I think that's it right there.
So it's 10-7 on the outer court. We'll come back into center court. Action back underway. And once again, it's Nick Lucena seeing a lot of action and domination at the net. You talked about the play of Theo Brunner.
When he is on, he is an incredible blocker at the net. Longtime indoor middle blocker, Theo Brunner.
UC Santa Barbara, as I recall.
UC Santa Barbara, and then he played overseas in Italy and I believe in Greece. He was a great player and played a little bit on the indoor national team as well before making his switch to the beach.
So timeout back here. We'll take you right back outside. It's now 11-7 in the near court. That's Ricardo Santos on the left and Reed Pretty on the right. Big serve from Sean Rosenthal. And he cannot run that one down. So point for Pretty and Santos.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the dynamics between these 4 players here on court 1 on the outside. You have Trevor Crabb and Sean Rosenthal, who are just super instinctual, natural players. Sean Rosenthal, kind of the original, just instinctual, fun to watch player out here.
Beach only guy, never really played indoors.
Exactly.
Redondo
Trevor Crabb
Union High School.
Trevor Crabb never really liked to play indoor volleyball. He did play at Long Beach for a little bit with his brother Taylor, but beach was always his game. He actually preferred to play basketball indoors. So those guys are just naturally beach players. And then you have Reed, who's trying to learn the game.
12-8 right now on that outer court. On the inner court here, it's Nick Lucena, who's still trying to get some side outs. He's seen a lot of action.
10-14.
He gets that point, and it is now 14-10. A solid first set performance for Bruner and Patterson, who went down in straight sets earlier to Dalhausser and Lucena. If you just joined us here in the men's semifinal, Manhattan Beach Open, Sunday morning action. It started early at 8:45 with the women's semis. Emily Day and Brittany Hochaver advancing in overtime in the third set. They will face off in the finals with another pair who went 3 sets and got it done after losing the first. Nicole Branna, along with her partner from Canada,
Brandy Wilkerson.
Brandy Wilkerson, they advanced. They beat Lauren Fendrick and April Ross. It's been top quality volleyball here this morning, and another big stuff block. Theo Brunner,
Wow.
my lord, at the net.
Theo, 2 career wins in his career. First one, partnered with Nick Lucena in Huntington Beach back in 2014, I want to say. I should know that because they beat me in the finals. But
maybe you've blacked it out.
Yeah, I tried to block that one out. It was a few years ago. So Theo has been here before, but hasn't made a Manhattan Beach Open final yet. Nick did get his name on the pier 2 years ago. And yeah, he beat me in that one too.
Tri-born Kevin Barnett. Enjoying the men's semifinal here on center court. Been an incredible weekend of volleyball. Another touch high off the block. Boy, Casey Patterson has really used the fingertips of Phil Dalhausser early in this match.
Kind of shows his experience here. A lot of players will get intimidated against a huge block of Phil Dalhausser, but I've always said you have to bring every different speed and angle against Phil, and then you get his block moving around. If you're coming one-dimensional, he'll take that one dimension away. Casey's one of the best at bringing in different speeds and angles.
Phil over on 2. Phil gets so few offensive opportunities.
Yeah, he kind of has to impose his will on a match. Most opponents are going to try to take him out of the match, but it's up to him. A lot of times he'll do it from the line or blocking, but nowadays he'll hit on 2 a lot as well.
Patterson that time cannot get by Phil Dalhausser. Solidly blocked.
That set looked like it died a little bit, so Phil was able to get all over it. Casey tried to go high. Looked like he was trying to play it off the block, but Phil was all over it.
More over on 2 action. This time it's Casey Patterson.
Look at the confidence there by Casey. Just
good disguise that time, it looked like.
Yeah, he kind of went in, squared up like he was going to set it, and just committed to that on-2 ball.
18-13, Patterson and Brunner.
Oh, that one's
been a lot
tricky.
of over on 2. That
I don't
didn't think that one was going to go.
Yeah, if
maybe
that
Inside Out the movie that would have been okay, but not here at actual Manhattan Beach volleyball. Maybe if you reverse the hands, perhaps underneath, if you could get
that's
one
a good
upside
point.
down, one right side up, perfectly okay, according to Hollywood.
I've always wanted to try that.
Patterson and Dalhausser once again. Lucena is there. Phil not happy with his set. Boy, Nick is everywhere. Nick the quick. My lord, at the net. He will not bend the knee to Khaleesi.
Wow. Theo owning the net against his ex-partner, Nick Lucena. He is so explosive, Theo Brunner. Right here, the 2 blockers we're watching, biggest, most explosive blockers. So springy as well. It's kind of incredible. Both guys over 6'8".
19-14. 1 point from the freeze. That ball out of bounds, no touch, and here we are. 20-14. Pardon me, match point would be the freeze. We're not getting the freeze here in set number 1. I was a little early.
No, it's all good. New rule.
going through my time in volleyball since about the middle 90s, the number of different rules and scoring systems that I've seen. I've watched people play to 7, to 15, to 25, to 30, to 21.
Oh my goodness.
Ridiculous.
Can't keep track.
Right here, it's the 21 for set number 1. Set number 2 will also be to 21 if necessary. Set 3 will be to 15. Of course, win by 2. That's been the one constant in the world of volleyball for some time. Brunner for set 1. Nobody up. Phil can't handle it, and a handy first set performance from Theo Brunner and Casey Patterson, 21-15.
This is not a surprise. I think everyone's kind of been waiting for the coming out party of this team, Patterson and Brunner. And it started late yesterday with their match on Stadium Court against Gibb and Crab.
It seemed like perhaps the surprise try was that 21-8 when they met earlier in that second set.
Right, exactly. And you know what? A lot of times that kind of wakes you up. They did lose to Phil and they lost to Phil and Nick, kind of got crushed, and you just come in with a fully fresh mindset after that, and knowing that the tournament almost feels like it's over, but every match is like a second chance, and they're feeling it now.
And on court right now, a very special opportunity for the Southern California Volleyball Club known as SCVC. Coming into the 9th grade year, the SCVC 15 Quicksilver team began their quest to improve and play some top quality juniors volleyball. They won the 15s Open Division and a national title back in Columbus, Ohio. And speaking of victories over people, this team beat my son's team, the Rockstar 15s, also from this area. They clashed in the finals. 2 Southern California teams playing for a national title, and these guys at SCVC were victorious.
Wow.
Clark Godbold, Theron Mandeville, Mark Marolda, Joe Radanovich, Sebastian Rodriguez, Logan Sharp, Shane Stroike, Nathan Toomey, Luke Turner, Sam Walton, and Drew Wilson, all out on court right now being honored for their national championship. Head coach was Chris Austin, former UC Irvine star, played overseas for many years, John Shea, and Rick Arce also helping out. Jason Aschenfelter, also a part of that team, a name well familiar to those in the South Bay. His father, Mike, a terrific Miracosta high school player back in the day.
Congrats to those boys. Well deserved. Glad they got some recognition here.
And the sun came out while they were on court, so here we go. The June gloom in August has burned off, and we are sunny for set 2. Kevin Barnett alongside Tri Bourne. Set 1 went to Patterson and Brunner.
Wow. You know they're feeling it when Casey's coming in and doing jump sets. I like the confidence, first of all. Casey's got to be confident. That's how he plays well. But also just bringing in different tempos and making Phil and Nick think twice. You can't be one-dimensional, like I said earlier.
And another huge block. What a factor Theo Brunner has been at the net.
I think Theo and Casey have the advantage right now. They're going to try to keep Phil out of the game as much as possible, and I like their chances with Theo blocking well against the smaller Nick Lucena.
Theo now with 5 blocks in this match. Can't reach that one. Doesn't have to, as it's out of bounds.
It's going to be really difficult for Nick here. This is going to be the deciding factor if Nick Lucena can side out consistently, or if he can maybe put up options for Phil.
Nick Lucena has only 4 kills in this match. He's been getting served almost exclusively.
Kind of shows you how things have gone so far right there, that stat alone.
I'd almost want to check that stat, but we just saw it click off to 5, so nice job by our crew keeping track of that, but only 5 kills for the man who's receiving the lion's share of serves. On the other side, Casey Patterson, who's playing defense, 9 kills. Several of those have come in transition point scoring opportunities. Back to serve, Phil Dalhausser. Patterson and Brunner have gone over on 2 a couple of times. Dalhausser has been there. And he's there once again, this time against Brunner.
Never count out a team with Phil Dalhausser on it. That is for sure. He's been here so many times. His name is practically every 10 feet, every 20 feet on the pier as you walk down it, and he's looking to get back on it.
People unfamiliar with it, if you win the Manhattan Beach Open, you get a volleyball-shaped plaque embedded into the pier the following year. for your championship. So those that are not familiar with volleyball, who are enjoying the Manhattan Beach Pier, who is this Phil guy I keep seeing?
Yeah, exactly. This is him, the big baldy.
We've got Mark Sherman here behind us, the live in-stadium entertainment. I just want to know where I can get a gold coat. That's my question. Phil Dalhausser cranks one there. That's a gold medal swing.
Yeah, there you see him imposing as well. Nick Lucena having to do a lot, getting every serve. I think it's super important that Nick puts Phil up for options almost every time that he has control and serve receive. Phil might serve him back, but he needs to make Theo at least think about it.
4-3, Bruner Patterson with the lead. Another short serve. Patterson backs up, looks for the wrist away, and that was just on the line.
If they can't stop Theo and Casey on serve receive here, things are going to get difficult.
5-3. Lucena just inside of Theo Brunner.
Good aggressive swing there. Theo just a split second late. He made the right move, saw it, but Nick the quick with the quick arm.
Nick Lucena's been serving short. Phil Dalhausser's been breaking out the jumper. He'll go to Brunner. Good set. Oh, nearly there was Nick Lucena, but a perfectly placed shot from Theo Brunner. 6-4.
I can't explain how well Theo's playing right now. He's not usually a very finesse player, placing shots and making the smart plays all the time, but he's consistently been doing it here and trying to make a statement here in Manhattan Beach.
Final set for the women. Working on the finals matchup for the men. Trevor Crabb and Sean Rosenthal facing off with Ricardo Santos and Reed Pretty in the other men's semifinal, happening now as Nick Lucena spikes that one long. Boy, first come the blocks, then come the errors.
Yeah, that's what happens. I mean, that's all Theo Brunner there. He's blocking well. He has been up and down as a blocker this season, but he's on fire here, and Nick Lucena's feeling it.
Brunner, oh, he wanted that one back, getting it just off the inside of the elbows.
Looks like he's reaching a little bit. I think these last few, he's just been a little excited and being really aggressive with both hands, but he needs to drag that inside hand to take care of that seam ball. Nick Lucena, one of those hitters who uses the seam a lot in his attack. This is a huge transition ball for Dalhausser, Lucena, and that'll go down.
Boy, how about the angle from Phil Dalhausser right there? Most players in the world would have to shoot that ball. Phil, straight down.
That's one of the huge differences that you have to mentally adjust to before playing Phil. Know his angles. It's a different player when you're hitting against him.
It's 5 feet in front of you.
Yeah, exactly.
When he's hitting the ball, just get closer.
Get closer and try not to take it to the face. Look at that clean, crisp cut shot. There's no hesitation. That's all confidence right there, in my opinion. An off-speed cut shot. If he would have hit it hard, it would have changed the angle. If he would have hit it 100%, it would have changed the angle and gone right to Nick. Smart, clean shot. Hit it about 75%.
You made a good point in this match about the confidence with which Casey Patterson and Theo Brunner have played. Coming off a 21-8 loss earlier in this tournament in the second set to this team, how do you generate that immediately on court? Where's the credit for the way they've played early here live?
Well, I mean, I guess any elite athlete knows no matter, they just don't let the losses get to them. You know that you're going to lose some, you're going to win some, but the best ones get waken up by those losses, and that's what you see right here. They were probably a little embarrassed by it, to be honest. Teams like this you don't lose 21-8. That just doesn't happen where you don't get to double digits. So definitely woke them up, and right now it's for the best.
Here's Brunner. Oh, Nick Lucena perfectly placed. Can he score it in transition? Yes, he can.
Wow.
On a roll, 8-8.
Kind of lucky that Casey Patterson didn't come up with a dig there. It was right in his lap. Looks like he got caught with his arms kind of stuck to his body, so he wasn't able to pop it up. You'd like to see his arms kind of separate from the body a little bit there. Get that thing popped up high in the air for Theo.
Phil with the jump serve working on Theo. He passes a little far right. And that'll be off the hat and head of Phil Dalhausser. Recall an event in Hermosa a while back with John Hyden, your partner. A little ha-ha, ho-ho, and a little argument afterwards.
Yeah, no, John would tell me to go at Phil's head, but that's what I was talking about earlier. Bringing different tempos, hitting different angles. You have to make Phil guess. And the fact that Theo's was sneaking a few under him earlier, now he's going straight through him, so that makes Phil have to bring his hands inside. That's how you play against Phil.
A multi-varied game of Theo Brunner in this match. Missed serve, one of the few missed serves we've seen in this match. The serving's been pretty consistent. 21-15 in the first set. Bruner Patterson, 9-9 here in the second. Oh, Casey throwing the sunglasses away mid-point. Up on top at the net.
That's a mistake there by Nick Lucena. He felt like he had that cut shot under control, so he's going to feed it right back to Phil. I think it's the right decision, but he didn't execute.
Casey going to collect his equipment, get it cleaned up here in between points.
Sometimes you'll get like a drip of sweat that'll come off your hair or something and go right on the middle of your lens. So I think Casey probably just had something like that and threw it off midpoint.
Lucena, boy, he's checking down. He's adjusting his hat and scoring the point. Do not shoot it up there with Phil. Checking on the outer court, Trevor Crabb, Sean Rosenthal, 21-15 in the first set over Reed Pretty and Ricardo Santos. Second set just underway. Pretty and Santos with a 7-5 advantage.
Trevor Crabb imposing his will so far with 3 blocks. Most blocks on that match so far.
Patterson looking for the line. It is not there. Nothing but the big Phil Dalhausser. 11-10, so we will have a side switch and a timeout.
To me, that's a huge point right there. Obviously, you always want to go into the timeouts with the momentum. And for Phil to get a block off the face of Casey Patterson, that can be a momentum changer big time. And it only takes something really small for a team like Nick Lucena and Phil Dalhausser, who is arguably the best team in the world right now.
Take a look outside center court. On to court one, it is Reed Pretty receiving serve there. Ricardo Santos setting him, and Pretty. A lot of people have commented on the live shoulder that he's brought over from the indoor side.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's easy to kind of judge his game as a beach player and realize all the things that he doesn't have, and it's just that he has to learn. But there's a few new things that he's bringing out as well. And
there's things he does have?
There are things that he does have. Let's not forget about that. And one of them is hardware from the Olympics and 4 Olympic Games of experience.
Reed Pretty playing outside hitter. Coming back from an ACL injury suffered over the last quad, would come back and not play very much during the last Olympic Games until the last match, would sub in partway through in the bronze medal match for the American side, would have 16 kills and collect another medal from the Olympics to go with his gold from 2008. Back to center court now. Patterson again all over the hands of Phil Dalhausser. Boy, he has used and abused Phil in this one.
If anyone can do it, it's Casey. Has a 7-foot wingspan. He's only 6'7". And, well, I know only 6'6", 6'7" as a defender is huge, but his wingspan is like 7 feet. So his reach.
That's Iverson-esque.
Really, yeah, exactly.
Let's get the French fries off the board, and it's a 12-11 advantage for Lucena and Dalhausser, who lost the first set 21-15. Convincingly controlled throughout by Bruner and Patterson. Mainly the blocking of Theo Brunner, who had 5 in that first set, has not picked one up according to the stats here in the second. Touch from Phil. Now, actually a decent set off of that.
Wow, this is a big turnaround right here. I'm seeing a little momentum shift. Phil's starting to touch those balls that they weren't getting. They're starting to win these long rallies. if we go to 3-set, I think the advantage will be in Dalhausser Lucena's favor.
If it continues with the type of momentum you've seen here in set number 2?
Yeah, and just based on experience, I mean, Phil's been in how many Manhattan Beach Open finals and probably won the majority of them he's been in. And he's the top. They're the top team in the world right now. I think they just need a little confidence booster, and they start going pretty quick.
Nice little one-hand dig by Brunner, who comes back in transition. Phil over on 2. Now, is that deliberately dug at Phil to give him that option?
Yes, for sure. Guys like Nick, that's an elite beach volleyball player right there. If these defenders can control it, something John Hayden does really well, they'll send it right back at the blocker, knowing that, at the guy blocking, knowing that the defense is not ready.
Dalhausser back to serve once again. His team in control, miss serve. Still close. Now, you talked about the feeling of this second set and the way that Dalhausser and Lucena have kind of asserted themselves, but they still only lead by 1. What can they do to generate more points here, more real points on their side? What are they missing?
For me, it's a matter of weathering the storm and realizing that this is going to be a battle. Casey and Theo aren't going to go away easily. They're going to have to earn it. A lot of times this team dominates so much that the other team kind of just gives it to them. They're going to have to battle for it and earn it. They have been the better team in the past, so I mean, I'd say for sure trust their game and what's been working, but know that they got to earn it and expect the best from their opponents, which we're not getting there.
Yeah, that time working on Theo. 16-13, opportunity to make a break. Timeout called. Rich Lamborn will step out of the box and have a conversation with Theo Brunner and Casey Patterson.
That's kind of weathering the storm there by Nick and Phil. Just waiting for Casey and Theo have been on fire this entire match, but trusting their game and kind of waiting for a breakdown like this from Patterson and Brunner.
Phil Dalhausser on the right-hand side of your screen there in the Red Bull hat now with 4 blocks in the match. 14 kills for Phil. 9 now. Offensive production really picked up for Nick Lucena.
Yeah, that's the difference right there. Nick, they know Nick's not the best side-out player in the world. He gets served every ball. He gives up runs here and there, but they always recover from him. And you can see that Nick struggling a little bit early to put the ball down wasn't really anything that rattled them.
On the outer court, Pretty and Santos still with a 2-point lead. It's now 12-10 in that second set. A 1-set-to-none advantage for Trevor Crabb and Sean Rosenthal, looking to punch their ticket into the men's final here. The granddaddy of them all, Manhattan Beach. That one looks like an over-on-2 opportunity. Slap back by Phil Dalhausser. Now 5 blocks for Bill.
Those are the plays that were going down for Casey and Theo earlier. I want to say I saw a little hesitation. Casey not coming in with as many options, kind of telegraphing that one a little, and you cannot telegraph against Phil Dalhausser.
Bad pass, nobody up.
He'll be all over it.
Here's Lucena in transition. Trying to push it to the net was Phil, making that final adjustment by throwing his body into the sand.
Yep. One of the best setters, Phil Dalhausser, for sure.
He gets some reps.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think there's anyone who's set more balls than him over the last decade or so. But you notice Theo's still touching a lot of these balls from Lucena. He's just got to seal a little bit better. I think I'm seeing his hands pressed laterally a little more than straight over the net, and that seems like it's been the difference on these low hits from Lucena.
Patterson continues to use that crossbody cut, and he watches that one go out of bounds. So there's a point on service for Bruner and Patterson. They will get back to within 3.
Nick will give up points here and there. It's just whether they can limit them to 1 point, maximum 2 points, no big runs.
Here comes Nick. That line has been good all match long.
Shows his confidence there, missing a line shot that Casey Patterson actually had read, and then coming back and doing the exact same thing.
19-15, 2 points away from sending this to a decisive third set. Thanks for being with us here on AVP.com. Kevin Barnett alongside Triborn. Watching another dig and an over on 2. Cleverly done by Phil Dalhausser. There are reasons he's been atop the world of volleyball for as long as he has.
Just so confident in his skills. Able to do every single skill out there, including the kind of fake set, going in neutral to have the option to go over, and he takes it with his left hand.
Set point. Dalhausser, Lucena. On top of the net, Brunner. He will throw it into the corner. Set point number 2 now. Where do you serve? All match long you've been working on Nick Lucena. That ball's tight. Pushed through by Nick Lucena. And we will play 3.
Those are the small plays that were going the way of Casey Patterson and Theo Brunner all yesterday, at the end of yesterday, and then into this morning in the first set. Now it's changed. It's going to be interesting to see what adjustments they make and if mentally they can get back to that place.
How do you recapture those small plays?
Well, I guess it comes down to just coming back to your bench and having short-term memory. Forget that all the bad plays that have happened. Remember the good ones and trust your game. You can't hesitate. You have to go for it. And it's easy to hesitate and overthink it when you have a guy like Phil Dalhausser on the other side, and then Nick in the back who's so quick. You have to be decisive in everything you do, and it takes a lot of mental effort to do that.
Thanks for tuning in here on AVP.com, live streaming the men's semifinals. Kevin Barnett alongside Triborn. You saw the wide shot there. What you're missing. The sun is out, the surf is up, and the volleyball is top quality. We are out on the other semifinals. Reed Pretty, that was an indoor type swing. Bangs it off of the block of Trevor Crabb. Pretty and Santos have a 1-point advantage, 16-15 after losing the first set to Trevor Crabb and Sean Rosenthal. One of these teams looking for a trip to the final would be Reed Pretty's first trip to the AVP finals since his Beach comeback. Played Beach years ago. Played with Jason Ring at one point, but returned to the game full time after retiring from the indoor national team following the Rio Games, as Ricardo Santos puts it down the middle, and it's now 17-15.
That's such a beautiful swing by Ricardo Santos, directly down the middle on the drop from Trevor Crabb. Such good instincts and touch on the ball. He's physically not what he was a few years ago.
He's 75 years old, Tri.
Yeah. No, I can't even believe what he's doing at, I believe he's 41, 42.
I think he's 42, is he?
And how much mileage he's put on his body is incredible.
All right, so 17-15 outside center court. Back in center court, we are 0-0, ready for a battle to 15, win by 2. And remember, it will be a freeze once one of these teams gets to match point. You have to serve to score at that point. And Phil Dalhausser just has to block to score lately. That's his 6th.
Not the start that Patterson and Brunner wanted. You don't want Phil getting confident. He's one of those types of players, one of the Hall of Famers, the greats of all time, who step up in the biggest moments. He'll play differently and play better. And you have to be ready for that next level game.
Dig over by Nick Lucena. Boy, there's another small play going the way of Dalhausser Lucena.
Patterson and Brunner are going to end it early, knowing they can't give up any runs here in the third set. You're only playing to 15. You got to end that run as soon as possible and try to get momentum back on your side. Do not let Dalhausser and Lucena get out to a lead early.
Well, they're out 3-0 right away. You said they would have the advantage here, Tri, going into the third. The way that second set was going, that has proven true.
Yeah, and it's, well, you know what? I've played Phil Dalhausser in these matches, in this tournament, in the finals here, and every time I play him, the bigger the match is, the more energy I see from him, the more he gets up a little higher. He makes moves a little quicker. He's a little more confident.
So how do you deal with that pressure as an opponent? Because so many times I think it could have such a hugely negative effect on you as the competitor.
Yeah, I think it's kind of demoralizing when you see someone, you're like, okay, I've learned how to handle you. I can ball against you, and then they take it to the next level. That's what being an elite athlete's all about. You have to bring yourself to that same level. Look Phil Dalhausser in the eyes and be like, I'm not going anywhere. You pick up your game, I'm going to pick up my game. Let's do this.
Maybe the answer is taking a big confident swing like Theo Brunner took there. We saw that earlier from Casey Patterson, working off the hands of Phil Dalhausser, not being intimidated. Phil has picked up the blocking since that point. Still working on Nick Lucena, who misses wide right.
That's a tough swing there. The set died a little bit inside. I think Theo Brunner set that block up really nicely, gave Nick just a sliver of line. It would have had to have been the perfect swing, and he forced him out just about a few inches.
Side switch on 5 here in the third. Patterson continues to serve and work on Lucena. Sun is out. It's a beautiful day in Manhattan Beach. Touch and a turn and another confident swing from Brunner. Maybe the confidence creeping back in to the team that took set number 1, 21-15.
3-3, anyone's match. Let's see who imposes their will these next few points.
So it's a set to 12 all of a sudden. Brunner, oh, into the net. Got a hold of the ball, but also the top of the tape.
Best case scenario in terms of losing the point, Theo got the block, kind of in Nick's head on that one. He net, yes, but Nick knows that was kind of a lucky play.
Crowd has filtered in. Stadium court getting packed here, men's semifinals. Women's already set, started at 8:45 this morning. We're looking forward to a Day Hochaver battle along with Wilkerson and Brunner. I like the influx of international players, whether it's Ricardo Santos or Brittany Wilkerson.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's no doubt that it brings up the level of the tour. Obviously, for players, at first, it's like, whoa, I thought this was the American tour. Are we letting all the World Tour players come in? But, I mean, right when we've got them back on tour, you just see the level of play go up so much more, and that's what it's all about, really. That's what the fans want. And we want this tour to be the best one in the world.
Kame Schalk played earlier with Reed Pretty. This one will have to go for Brunner. Ooh. And he gets it. Just off of the hand.
Kind of a discipline error there by Phil Dalhausser, and you see Nick Lucena kind of pissed about it.
We're 5-5 here in the third set. Out on the outer court, court 1. Trevor Krabs, Sean Rosenthal serving for the match. They are up 21-20. They're going to have to serve to score out there. It's all old school volleyball now out on court 1.
This would be huge if Trevor Crabb and Sean Rosenthal can make another final.
Oh, and Rosie's Raiders will be overjoyed. They will be over the top in the final here as Phil Dalhausser goes, for once, not over the top, but inside of the block.
Yep, that shows kind of versatility. He can hit all the angles. He can go high. That one, he just goes a really low seam. Guessing correctly that Theo Brunner will make a dive out of that seam.
Looks like Pretty and Santos have the serve back, so having staved off at least one match point out there. But now having to score real points. Reed Pretty having to go all the way back to the late 90s for the indoor side to be regular score. Back to 1998. Phil Dalhausser, there's one of those big swings that nobody else can make.
Good swing by Phil. Casey wants that one back. I think that's a huge opportunity. That could have been a big game changer right there if Casey could have come up with that dig, but he didn't.
Short serve, definitely to Brunner. We've seen Patterson pick that one up a few times, and he goes over on 2 just off the arms of Phil.
Phil was kind of caught off guard there. That's another kind of discipline play missed by Phil Dalhausser. You got to be ready for everything, especially against a guy like Casey Patterson that will take advantage of all those opportunities.
You pointed out earlier that Patterson kind of telegraphed the over on 2. That time looked a little better disguised. Oh, we've seen the line. There is the tight cut shot from Nick Lucena.
Boy, 2 3-setters to start the day on
Real nice
Stadium
cut
Course.
shot here.
I like where we head. How do you guys feel about the start to this beautiful Sunday?
That shot is not tough on the shoulder try. Your shoulder could last forever with that shot, it looks like.
Well, yeah, it was pretty smooth. Kind of not full speed, but Nick makes it look easy.
8-7, Dalhausser Lucena, pivotal third set for a trip to the finals. Lucena with the dig. And Phil with the kill at the net.
That's all Nick right there. Doing what he does best, playing defense, setting his partner up.
The boys from Florida.
Unbelievable competitors, these two. Oh.
Tough serve down the middle, ace. Just the second ace for Dalhausser and Lucena, Phil with both of them.
I was just going to mention the fact that I haven't seen Phil with his normal kind of aggressive serves that he likes to bring out in these moments. He was hitting a float earlier to see if it worked. Now he's jump serving again.
You mentioned raising the level as the pressure gets ramped up. Example A. Casey over the top of Phil.
Nice shot by Casey.
10-8, time to make a move. What do you do here? Do you try Phil? You haven't served him the entire match. Do you just see if he's awake over there?
You better bring a good serve if you are going to. I say you stay on Lucena. Brunner can.
They do. And Nick puts it in the net. Good call, Tri-Born.
Brunner can turn it on at any point. We saw him, how good he was in the first set. Hasn't really been all that great at the net since then. But if he turns it on at any moment, they can just steal this victory. So I think you stay on Lucena and trust Brunner's block. Or
and
Casey's defense.
Of Casey, there he is, pops it up. Transition. Nobody up, but into the net. Opportunity lost. It will be 11-9. You're watching the Manhattan Beach Open right now. Remember, September 1 through 4, Chicago, Illinois will be the host. Season-ending championship happening in Chicago. If you are in the Midwest, come out for one last piece of summer before it turns into winter back there in my hometown. Lucena working on Brunner. He's seen most of the serves on that side, and he works high off the hands with Phil. It's been a lot of Brunner and a lot of Lucena in service reception.
Yeah, they're trusting their game plans here. I mean, Casey's been really effective siding out. Obviously, Phil has too. They haven't really tried him out too much, which not many teams do.
Oh, here he will get one. Skipped right down the middle, and that's why you don't serve it.
Exactly. I honestly think I saw Casey toss it to his right a little bit. Looked like he wanted to get a little side spin on it, but it tagged the tape and hung up in the middle, so Phil kind of stole that and put it away easily.
For Phil, it's got to be kind of a moment, all right, finally, an
exactly.
opportunity to take it in rhythm attack.
Exactly.
Now Phil, still goofy foot.
Just like the great Karch Karai.
After all these years. And that one, boy, Phil just a little bit off the net, coming there from the service.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were talking about earlier, how hard it is to get to the net and jump straight up and down. That time he planted himself 2 or 3 feet off the net, and that space between the net caused the ball to go down on his side.
Bruner and Patterson still close, but maybe running out of time. Pokey down the line from Lucena. That will push it to 13-11.
I am surprised that Theo didn't get that block there. It was a tight ball, and Nick went low line with it. I think Theo kind of pulled his arms away, thinking that Nick might try to tool him. Instead, Nick pushed it straight.
Brunner now. Lucena right there. Here he comes in transition.
This is huge.
Off the tape and down.
Wow. Those are the plays, those small ones that have been sneaking under Theo. And that's been the difference for me, is Theo hasn't been stealing these small ones. A lot of balls are sneaking under him.
And here it comes, old school volleyball, frozen at 14-11. And we have an update on the outer court. 22-20 final score. Crab and Rosenthal victorious in 2 sets. They will appear in the final. Who will they play?
Ball's out.
It will be Dalhausser and Lucena. They win in the third, 15-11.
Wow, we have an unreal matchup coming up for the finals. Trevor Crabb looking to get his first victory of his entire career, and it could be the Manhattan Beach Open.
Trying to match his brother, but have a couple of Crabb victories on the season on the AVP. So that'll do it here in the third set. Here is match point. Theo Brunner, who was so good early, just misses that swing.
Yeah, the fire wore off just in time for Phil Dalhausser and Nick Lucena. They trusted their game. They know what they can do. They weathered the storm of Patterson and Brunner and came out on top as usual.